if you know what your strengths are or what type of player are, you know what the next thing you need to know is what you might be deficient at, because that's probably going to be the next question. So the next question is probably, so what would your weaknesses be in your game? So it was funny yesterday. The kid says, I'm not very good at that. I said, okay, don't say that you're not very good at something, even though you're just being honest.
Yeah.
Say, I feel like, so if you're just a terrible skater, you can say that I know skating is something that I need to improve on. And if you're working on it, hopefully you're working on it, you can say that. But don't point out your weaknesses necessarily, but know that you have a weakness. So I've coached my son to say, well, I feel my game is pretty well rounded. I know that I always need to work on a couple of things. And the thing that I'm working on is ABC, which is, I'll just say, is having quicker feet when I'm separating myself from someone to create more space to make more. So, but that's an intelligent answer.
Yeah.
And the reason he said that is because he's asked that question, what do I need to work on?
Mm-hmm.
Which people don't do a lot of times. So when you can actually identify something that, oh, okay, the kid is actually aware. He's not telling me he's shit at something, but he's aware that that he could be better at this and he's working on it.
Yeah.
They might ask, how are you working on it? Which you better be ready for it, which
yeah.
My son is. He's able to do that. I do it through the gym, doing these exercises. I do it on the ice, doing on these type of drills, and I'm aware of it. Every time I go to practice or when I work on things, it's in my head to work on this, work on this, work on this.
Yeah, well, I do think it's important. I don't know if we disagree, or maybe you just didn't say it the way you meant, but you should actually point out your weaknesses. I don't think you should not point out your weaknesses, because they know what your weaknesses are, or what they think your weaknesses are. So you do want to say what your actual weaknesses are. You don't want to say, well, I just score too much sometimes, right? It's like that's not an answer, right? So
No,
you actually want to point out.
I'm agreeing with you.
Because it's a self-awareness thing too, right? Like, does this kid actually know what he's not good at?
Yeah, but it's what I'm saying is how you present
Right,
it.
exactly. So it's the velvet on the
Yes.
sledgehammer thing,
Yes.
right? So you're saying, yeah, I know, like, maybe, like you said, I feel like I'm all rounded, but I know I could increase my foot speed and separating from guys. And even if they don't ask you, have a way that you're improving on it, and actually be doing that in your spare time. Don't just make up some BS, right? Yeah. So if you actually need to work on your feet, then I want to increase my foot speed and separating with guys, so I do this in the gym, I do this on the ice, yada yada, and have an answer. Even if they don't ask you, just say, yeah, this is, and I know that, and I'm working on it this way. Yeah. So
100%. So that's what I would say to that is exactly what you said. You identify, but you don't say, yeah, I'm just horrible at skating.
Yeah. Well,
but you say this is something I'm working. I realize that I need to work on my skating.
Right.
I need to work on my shot.
And that was something that, it was funny because when we were getting prepared to do these job interviews, these engineering interviews, these people interviewing us are really smart. They know, and they know what it actually takes to do the work and to do these jobs well and all that. And when people come in and they say, well, I'm just a perfectionist, that's my weakness, that I'm a perfectionist.
I'm too good looking.
Yeah, it's you're annoying. That's not a real weakness. No. And so something that I would say, because this is something I actually think is a weakness for me, is oftentimes I'll get praise, like you've complimented me on this before, the attention to detail and how organized things are and all that. That's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. And that's something that I would say in interviews for myself as my weakness is sometimes I'll spend so much time on little details that actually don't matter that much that it actually slows me down. And
you just did it last night with the logo.
Yeah, exactly.
And this morning.
Exactly.
Guys, listen to this.
Yeah.
So we have a logo coming out for one of our fitness things called the PowerTech Army. So we just took our logo, real simple. We didn't do it. We had a graphics guy do it to put the Army in there, and it's the same logo, only different. Yeah. And it looked great. And then scientist boy here, detail guy, was which is great. You start looking at, well, should we add this? Should we add this? So anyways, we had what I thought was an incredible logo with because it was PowerTech Army and fitness. So we had an Army symbol in it, and he goes, I don't know, it's American. This is the star. This I don't know, and I'm like, dude, get rid of it. Yeah, let's just keep it simple.
Let's
go. Let's just keep it simple. But that's exactly it. It's I wouldn't say it's a fault, but it can be.
Yeah, because I know that if there's work that needs to be done, and normally it doesn't become a problem, but I can get bogged down in the details, and it can keep me from doing things at a faster rate because I get caught up in these things and make things more complicated than they need to be, and I know that's a weakness, but that's an actual weakness. Now that's a real answer. I just gave them a real answer of something, and I'm showing you I'm aware of it, and I'm actively trying to get over that and make sure in those situations like I'm doing something to try to mitigate that and get around that so I don't get caught up. And that's the same thing you should go into these interviews with. When they ask you a weakness, actually know what your weaknesses are, and then give a good answer of how you're addressing the weakness. And that's the biggest thing, especially for the kids going into this. It forces you to think about your own game and think about what you're good at, think about what you're not good at, and then come up with ways. And then it actually helps you to, when you're practicing this stuff, it'll actually help you to identify that stuff, and then you can actually work on it in real life too, which is a bonus.